Welcome back to Shredder's Revenge. So now we're doing episode 12, It Won't Fly.
Are you gonna switch characters by any chance?
No, but don't worry, Dej. Some other people join us, so we'll get to see some other characters later.
Online?
Yes. Or online. Hey, look, the legs.
Okay, now at the end of the last part, the Turtles and Co. were starting to get better at paying attention to Krang after they beat a boss. Will they actually succeed this time?
We'll have to stop him eventually. Pressed as he appears to be. Seriously though, Krang has just looked like an absolute mess this whole game. Like, I wonder, have all the losses finally started to set in and wear away at his ego?
He is, well, I mean, he's been doing this for decades. You can imagine the toll all that loss will take on his psyche.
You know, I love that. I love the implication that if this has been going on for decades, that everyone still looks as young as they did when the show started, and they're all still in good shape. Casey and April, especially. Since at that point they should be like probably in their 50s or 60s now.
Indeed. Well, unfortunately, we have to keep them, from aging, because if they become full-grown adults, they're no longer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, are they?
Yeah.
Even
Pedro,
though I could have sworn they sure.
Wait, are you talking about this or live-action Disney, Pedro?
I'm not sure what's the connection there.
Well, because Disney can't seem to let go of their old things, so they keep like, is there any way we can keep the cast young so we don't have to let go of them ever?
Well, I thought you were talking about the stuff where a Disney princess must stay young enough to be a princess instead of becoming a queen.
That too.
Alright, moving on.
Welcome to Disney, where you will never leave.
So looking forward to that new Tangled remake.
Hooray.
Shut up.
Anyway, moving
Well,
on.
if it's any consolation, I hear that the Hunchback remake might be getting canned.
Yeah, because apparently Bob Iger does not care for that the original movie, so it's like...
You know what?
Hey, I don't either.
You know what? Wait, when I showed you the movie, you liked it, though. But,
No. Like, so it won't be remade. So I'll take the...
Oh, right.
It's a good movie.
Right. But no. You know what? If that means we don't get this remake, I'll take it. Thank you.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about the sequel.
I mean, how
I'm talking about the original.
Save from a remake just because the boss at Disney doesn't like it. I mean,
you know what? If that's what it takes for me not to get a remake of that movie, I'll take it.
How about a remake of Hunchback 2?
That would be interesting. A remake of Hunchback Notre Dame 2.
Like, okay, if you're not gonna remake the first, then what's even the point? Also, I love.
Oh my God, Jova!
Apparently, yes.
Considering how shit the Mulan remake was, can you imagine that team remaking Mulan 2?
Okay,
You know what?
do have to
It'll
wonder,
probably
would
be
it-
better than the actual Mulan 2.
That's what I was wondering. Do you think it would actually become better or somehow worse?
They'll probably address the whole China is doomed problem, because that's the one that people complain about the most, but I'm not entirely certain they will still make it good, though.
Anyway, I do like that little background detail that Shredder's goons walk through a sort of car wash of sorts that spray paints them to be the colors.
Yeah, this game is full of such great details.
I think my favorite one is, again, Bebop apparently hitting it off with that lady in the first stage. Like, Jesus, I had no idea the man could do the Riz.
Alright, so, man, Krang and Shredder did a good number on New York sewers.
Well, don't you see they want
Are you sure that's not what they look like anyway?
Well, don't you want to see? But don't you see, guys? They wanted to hit the turtles where they live.
Deji, question, or Jova, do the sewers actually look like this in New York in real life?
I mean,
no,
Do we look like we've actually gone to sewers before?
Well, I don't know what you look like.
No. Don't you see? Clearly, we're the New York City
Oh,
sewer
there he is.
bros. Oh.
fan.
Baxter Stockman, Mutated Matt, Flyentist. Ha ha ha.
Oh, I thought it was a fan cosplaying as Baxter.
No,
Stockman.
Baxter Stockman is in the 80s show is a direct homage to The Fly, which is one of the all-time sci-fi classics. Basically, if you take a look at the episode names for all of for most of the 80s show episodes, most of them are homages to old sci-fi movies.
Oh yeah, speaking of Ninja Turtles while this fight's going on, I saw Mutant Mayhem not too long ago.
How was
Did
it?
you like it?
I thought it was fine.
Alright.
There you are.
Mutant Mayhem.
But does it leave enough room for you to want to see more of this incarnation?
Possibly.
I'm gonna wait
Okay.
till the movie leaks so I can just watch it with Edge.
I'm curious, what is your favorite incarnation of Turtles, Dwibs?
2003. You already said it was 2000. It's the one you grew up with, so.
That's the one I grew up with too.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's my favorite. It is definitely one of my favorites, but you know.
I mean, my favorite will of course be the 80s one because that's the one I grew up with. So.
Oh god, and then it turns out Jova's favourite incarnation is actually the next mutation.
I wouldn't be
No.
surprised.
Why, Dej? Why?
I don't know. I have a feeling that you might be attracted to Venus.
And
No!
looks like Krang
Oh,
got his
snap.
body.
But wait a minute. Leo, turn around!
Well, shit.
Oh my god, the
Oh.
Technodrome!
And look at that! In true TMNT game classic fashion, we have that shot of all four turtles looking at the Technodrome. Punk Frogs
I
NYC.
noticed- I noticed that the Technodrome is wrecked, so I'm guessing what Krang did was transport us out here, since last we saw he was doing something.
Alright, we got all the disgusting bugs.
So,
We also,
so
and there
does
we
this
go.
game... So is this game in continuity with the previous games?
I don't think so.
I'm just wondering
It's-
because
don't think about it. It just feels to be its own thing.
I'm just wondering because of the wrecked Technodrome, which implies past events.
Considering it's much, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be taking place in the universe of the 80s show, and that's it.
Weird. I don't remember the Technodrome getting wrecked at the end of the series.
Well, okay,
Although,
don't think too hard about it. The plot is just here to serve as an excuse for the gameplay.
you know, wouldn't that be a funny thing though when you think about it? Like implying this takes place after the series. That means they went through the series, then had a bit of a gritty phase where everyone was scowling at everything and the sky was red. But then New York went back
How about
to
this?
normal.
How about this? This takes place in between season 7 and 8. There you go.
I'm actually fine with this happening after season 8. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen stuff. Maybe get a bit dark, but then go back to how things were before. I just like to think of how funny the thing is that everyone looks back at that age as, huh, you know, we kind of had a bit of a gas leak year, didn't we? And bonus points to anyone who gets that reference.
Indeed. It's one of those things. It boils down to this. The 80s show, of course, is is the one that is given credit for for establishing a lot of the pillar cores of the identity of the franchise that are still being used to this day. But if you want like a straightforward, proper, like de facto take on the Turtles story, you should go watch the 2003 show. Like, the 80s show is there for those who are willing to look at a more comedic and more simplistic take. But if you want something more meaty in terms of its writing, the EO3 show is where it's at.
Although the thing is, the 80s show has risen to such prominence that a lot of people see it as the origins of the Turtles.
Well, even though it's not the origins like the comics are, but the 80s show established so many core principles that the franchise is still using to this day that, yeah, it is a very important part of Turtles. It's undeniable. Even if you don't like the show, you cannot deny
I think it says
that it's important in the franchise history. Go on.
It speaks volumes that even 2003, which was made to be its antithesis, clearly took inspiration from the 80s show as well, right down to even the theme song. Despite being a lot darker, having some of the motifs of repeating some of the certain words that would also be repeated in the original theme as well.
1, 2, 3, 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. That said, holy cow, 2003's take on the Shredder was unique.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
he's meant to be the dark Shredder from the comics, isn't it? So.
Well, wait. Do you not know about the Twister Shredder into the 2003 show?
It's been a long time, Jova. Like I remember some basic things here and there, but it's been so many years at this point.
Shredder is simultaneously the Japanese guy, but also Krang.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
his name's not Krang. His name is something else, but he is the same species as Krang and Ultron.
Basically, it's revealed that the Shredder is essentially a robotic show for the alien species that, Krang was from the 80s show, essentially.
Interesting.
Which explains why at the season finale of season 1, when Leo cuts off Shredder's head and then he gets back up, it was foreshadowing that he was a robot. And the best way to get past the 4Kids censors.
Yep. Again, like Yu-Gi-Oh!
4Kids produced that show themselves. Why would they need to censor it?
Well, Fox parents censor.
Oh, you wanna
Yeah.
you wanna talk about that, Dwebs? Nickelodeon apparently in Paramount Plus they not only did they replace the theme song, they apparently censor and edited the episodes, which is weird because the original iteration of the show was already made to be censored to begin with, because they made all the foot soldiers robots to avoid, the turtles killing people. There's occasional moments where characters use guns, but really, is that really considering it's an old property, is it really worth it to censor that just for a streaming service?
How could they have retroactively censored stuff in a release?
Apparently,
Lucky right there.
apparently they cut some scenes from what I've seen in a certain tweet that Deji sent me.
Oh, good lord! They really needed to censor the '80s show of all things, really.
Which is weird because, again, have you seen the 80s show? The 80s show is already made to be as kid-friendly as possible. I mean, keep in mind, unlike what Peter Laird would have you believe, the turtles still use their weapons, but
I
mean,
guess.
not even the Nick 2012 crossover or show didn't want you to believe that. If I use my weapon, someone could get hurt. No, I'm not letting that go.
yeah, it's so stupid.
Okay,
that's not how the turtles are.
That is.
Go on.
Yeah, and that was not how they were in the 80s show. Keep in mind, the 80s show had flipping Tommy gun wielding grandmas and that.
Oh yeah,
too.
no, the 80s show is silly as fuck, but this idea that the turtles don't use their weapons is so stupid. That's not at all. Like
It really is.
I actually showed an episode yesterday to Dej, and guess what? Leo uses his katanas. In fact, they all use their stuff. Go on.
But where was I with this prior? In regards to the 2003 show, it was quite interesting how that was the case with how they handled the Shredder in there. I'll admit, I had some mixed feelings on it because Shredder was this imposing figure and whatnot, but in actuality, he's essentially the show's answer to Krang, which I guess was an interesting amalgamation of sorts.
If you
That
want
being said,
sorry.
I guess
No, go on.
I
Finish.
guess it's not the weirdest take on Shredder. That honor would probably go to Rise's take on the Shredder.
What about IDW, where all the turtles and Shredder are basically reincarnations?
Interesting.
Yeah, that was certainly a choice. You were about to say, Pedro?
I mean, if you want to make fun of the censorship in the 80s cartoon, by all means do so. I actually told this to that when we watched that crossover. Here's what you do. Instead of having that stupid line, here's what you do. Have the mooks that they fight be robots, and then the 2012 turtles start wondering why they're all robots, and the 80s turtles explain that to them. There you go. It's simple. There you go. That way you can...
But the funny thing is, even that 80s, even the 2012 show, initially they were fighting human foot soldiers, but then like by season 3 or 2, they got changed to robots.
Ah, okay then.
Specifically for that reason.
Like, okay,
Okay,
the problem with
then,
the 80s... Okay, the problem that, both 2003 and 2012 had with the 80s Turtles show, I can best sum it up like this. It felt like big studio wigs doing what they think could be considered like an abridged parody, but it completely misses the point of an abridged parody. The key thing being that the humor of an abridged parody is actually to make fun of stuff that actually did occur there. Like, abridged parodies aren't funny if they just make up crap, or if they do make up crap, they only make up crap that is so out there, but people aren't able to tell that that's fake because the rest of the original source material was just that crazy. Like, for instance, Max OR's famous video on Metal Gear Rising has a disclaimer to mention when actual dialogue did come from the game, because yeah, Metal Gear Rising is that insane.
I mean, okay, let me think of what other thing you could have done. But first...
Alright, is the final showdown in sight?
You completed Vernon's special request. Visit him as soon as you can, which we will do right now.
I'm calling it right now. I could totally see him being voiced by, oh god,
You mean Vernon?
Yeah, I could totally see him being voiced by J.K. Simmons in a take.
I think J.K. Simmons would be better as Mr. Byrne. I mean, let's face it, he is J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, he would fit right perfectly as Mr. Byrne. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the best things about the Michael Bay duology. I really like her in her role.
Oh right, Whoopi Goldberg was in those.
Instead of Mr. Byrne, they created a new news chief for April, which is fine. But if they were going to keep Mr. Byrne in, definitely J.K. Simmons for that role. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's really funny that the Michael Bay version is the only one since the '80s incarnation to have. Well, I'm not sure about Mirage and damn it, what's the other one? Dark Horse, I believe. No, not Dark Horse. Image. The Michael Bay version is probably the only April O'Neil version to be a news reporter since the '80s show.
Yeah.
I guess to their credit, the original version of April in the comics. Well, for instance, she wasn't even white; she was mixed, but she was.
She was white.
Well, okay.
No, I'm sure she was of mixed. Pretty sure she was of mixed race in the original comic, but regardless, though, she wasn't a reporter in the original comic.
She was a scientist.
Yep. And if I remember,
she worked for Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, and more recent incarnations have actually made her a scientist again. So
I guess.
Well, wasn't she a scientist?
She's a scientist. She's a college student that's a scientist.
Isn't she also a scientist in Rise?
She's a college student that's supposed to be, or high school.
Looks like an elementary
around their age.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think that was around the time they started shipping April with the turtles.
Why did they do that?
Okay,
trust me, I don't get that at all.
Okay. I'll just say this. Shipping April with the turtles. I'll say this: the worst offender is easily 2012.
I mean, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Deji, remind me. Did April have any kind of love interest in the original comics before the first movie came about?
They shipped her with Casey in 2003.
Well,
they get married in that one.
Hold on, let Deji speak. Go on.
I'm not sure how far the Mirage comics were, but
okay,
her and Casey did end up together.
Sure. So I mean, Casey already is the de facto love interest for April. Why change that?
Later iterations made her younger, but then again, they also made Casey younger too, so it's not like it would have made it weird. But no, somebody decided we need to ship April with turtles. Let's see, what iteration?
It was a one-sided crush though, because Donatello had a thing for her in
the 2012 show.
The problem with the 2012 show was that eventually he got rewarded by I think season 3 or 4 and
But
whatnot, and then
guys,
she reciprocated his feelings despite him literally stalking her. Granted, to be fair, Donatello wasn't the only turtle in a turtle-human relationship, but his was easily the worst.
But guys, don't worry. In the 2012 one, April's not fully human.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying this, but the more I think about it, the less I kind of like the 2012 show. After the second season.
Honestly, I remember when 2012 was seen as like the Transformers Prime of Turtles. Like, people were like, "Oh my God, it's the greatest addition, greatest version," and I got around to seeing it, and well, I wouldn't say it's bad, but I'm wondering if maybe it was a little overrated, maybe due to what had come before.
It's interesting because everything that I'm hearing from you guys sounds even sillier than the stuff that the 80s show did.
The first half of season 3 is, do you like horror movies?
And I kid you not, Pedro, eventually, stuff culminates with them going to goddamn space.
I mean, that's something that happens in like every incarnation.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be fair, the 80s show is basically a big love letter to various sci-fi movies, so I'm not sure if I can complain about that.
I mean, okay. Keep in mind the context of 2012, though. 2012 portrayed itself as pretty serious outside of the Donatello and April stuff, And keep in mind, 2012 has one of the few times where we legit see an organic Shredder get, mutilated by a blade in the final confrontation with the Turtles. So, 2012 show definitely aimed to be taken more seriously than, others had before. I think that's why people found the space arc a bit more jarring.
What I find interesting about the crossover episode is that it takes place amidst that space arc, apparently.
Yes.
There you go. There's Slash.
Oh, there's Slash.
So it's a turtle from Dimension X. Because according to from what I can gather, apparently it pauses an arc that is in the middle of it. They decide to interrupt the story for a crossover at the worst possible time.
Yep.
And it's just what? That should be one of those episodes that a break in between arcs, not in the middle of one.
Basically.
I'll say this though. I just laugh at how, back when Rise first came out, people were really mad at that show for replacing 2012.
See,
I think it was more so because people thought, people came to the conclusion that more funny take on Turtles equaled Teen Titans Go.
Well,
also, making Raphael buff made people
okay.
I'm just gonna...
Oh my God, it's Boom Knuckles.
Okay. I'm gonna be fair. Oh wait, hold on. Huh. Interesting voice for Shredder, but okay, I'll just say this. To be fair, Rise did not do itself all the favors. They did present themselves as kind of a bit of Teen Titans Go tier of not taking themselves seriously to the point where even Splinter seemed almost out of character. Now this turned out to actually be the point, since the character development would help them get better. As for how different it was, Raphael was the leader instead of Leonardo at the start, and again, it was very jarring for people. And again, I do feel maybe they could have presented stuff a little better. Sure, in hindsight it seems fine, but if you were there, you'd have been excused for thinking, okay, this just ain't my cup of tea. But they did get better over time, and now people flipping love Rise. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Well, okay, I haven't seen it, so I won't comment too much on it. All I know is that people were making a lot of connections to Teen Titans Go, right down to the whole, the usual old wise mentor guy is this lazy slob.
Oh yeah, Splinter is...
Yeah, I mean,
they found a good balance near the end, or halfway towards season 1. But yeah, initially Splinter was bad,
which makes no sense. Why would you characterize Splinter that way?
There's a plot reason for it.
The plot reason was that Splinter's off his A game, but again, this is something we only really know in hindsight. when the show was actually just coming out at the time, I can't blame people for getting those vibes because that's what it gave up. And look, and yeah, I know there's some out there saying, oh, Teen Titans Go isn't that bad. Yes. But also, let's be honest, I don't think people were too hard on Teen Titans Go when it first came out. Because, no, it was... No. Because here's the thing. One, yes, it was that bad. And two, again, people wanted a Season 6. They blatantly decided not to give them a Season 6. And they literally resorted to humor that involves making fun of the audience.
Also, it replaced Young Justice. Because that was when DC Nation was dying.
Good. I guess on the topic...
This was when action cartoons were basically dead for a good while.
I guess on
the Teen Titans Go hate was bad, even when it was first announced.
Somewhat justified, though, but go on, Pedro.
I guess on the topic of questionable characterization, like, while I really enjoyed Batman versus TMNT like a lot, the one sticking point that I didn't like at all was how they wrote Michelangelo. Because the entire thing with Michelangelo in that movie is Mikey does something stupid and all the other characters look all baffled at how stupid he is, and that's it. That's Mikey's thing. He just does stupid things, which again is a complete misunderstanding of Mikey's character. Mikey is not stupid. He is a party dude, yes, and he's lighthearted and he's definitely more jokey than the others, but he is not stupid. That's ridiculous.
I feel the Turtles are basically fine with him. It was Damien who was the one that treated him like an idiot, but that's in character for Damien because he thinks everyone is inferior.
No, I get that, but it's not just that. It's the fact that he says incredibly stupid things in the middle of serious scenes, and it's just for the sake of, oh, look how stupid Mikey is, and it's just that's not how.
I get more of levity because everyone else is too serious, so they needed a breather.
Oh, sure, but there are better ways of providing levity than just having a character say something stupid.
Of course, but I don't think it was like, look how dumb he is. More of a, we didn't know how to get him right.
Well, that's a problem too.
No. That's a different problem, but not to what you're saying.
Go on.
I'll admit, I don't really recall him being that bad in the movie, honestly. Like, maybe it didn't have that much of presence. I don't recall cringing too bad, so I don't think it was the worst. That said, when are we getting that sequel?
To Mutant Mayhem? Well, the movie just came out.
No. To Batman versus TMNT.
Oh, that. Was there ever...
Who knows? Maybe when Warner Brothers isn't on fire.
Yeah.
Well, when Hollywood stops putting itself on fire.
Yeah. That too, but I feel like Warner Bros. Is the one taking...
Okay, how about this? Well, how about this? I can definitely mention something about the third live-action movie from the 90s, where they literally write all four of the Turtles as if they're Mikey. And it's just...
You know what No, I have a better idea, a better description. It's basically they wrote what everyone thinks the Turtles are because Mikey is the face.
Mm-hmm.
Was Mikey the
face? At the time he kind of was. He was the one who was picked to represent the Turtles in the cartoon All Stars to the Rescue special. You have to understand.
Right, it
back
was
in the
just him in that.
Oh, hey, Krang.
Sure you are, Krang. Sure you are. Well, Krang, you put the spotted together.
Krang, the burbling brain from beyond.
All right, Craig, let's see if you've actually got what it takes to fight us, and you are...
So yeah, much like the boss, and yeah, as you can see, the Krang boss battle is a throwback to all those other boss battles from the older Konami games. That's the thing. That's the thing, Joe. But you have to understand, like, back in the day, most kids' favorite turtle was Mikey, specifically because of the fact that he was the funny one. Like, even James Rolfe said it himself in his TMNT free review that Mikey was his favorite turtle growing up.
I guess I must have been one of those weird kids whose favorite was either Raph or Leo.
Well, you grew up during the 03 show. Like,
well, yeah.
Like, you have to understand that back in the 80s, the Turtles thing was being funny. And Mikey was the funniest, so he's the one that kids like the most, basically.
Hey, remember, Jofa, Ian Flynn believes that the 2012 show is the first time that they gave Leonardo a personality. His biggest miss to date, and y'all hate him for his Sonic takes. No, that is an actual bad take. I will say that. Yeah.
Look. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Ian Flynn can be a great writer. He is just as capable as any person of having bad takes, and that was certainly one of them. Wow, Krang seems to be taking his.
And ladies and gentlemen,
well.
Extra boss battle. Shredder, ready for revenge. Well, Dwibs, when
his
the
name is on the title.
Well, Dwibs, when the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut him no slack. So.
But I prefer them fighting back.
I love how they literally
the awesome rap by the Wu-Tang Clan.
I was about to say, I love how they included a rap.
Well, in your case, Dwibs, shouldn't the line be "Watch out for Shredder"?
Yeah, I like the Red Sky thing.
I mean, for me, it's just one of those cases where, again, the songwriting in the '80s theme is so great that it's just so easy to quote, and because, like, again, those turtle boys don't cut him no slack. That's such a great rhyme. Like, when the evil Shredder attacks, those turtle boys don't cut him no slack. Like, and it's such a great rhyme. Like, cause that's the thing. Like, it's not even just a matter of nostalgia. Like, trust me. Like, I can separate my nostalgia from my opinions. Like, the songwriting in that song is genuinely great. Like, it's such a fun song and so quotable. Like the lyrics to the 03 show are a bit more straightforward. Like they have the whole if everything else fails, it's time to kick butt. You know, like it's a bit more straightforward, which is fine. Which is fine considering the show is more straight in tone, so it makes sense.
And I actually respect the show for actually having its own unique theme song instead of every other show afterwards.
Well, the 80s theme wouldn't even fit that show to begin with. So
I kind of disagree on that.
I guess maybe if they made a more serious version of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, again, that's kind of what 2003 felt like it was doing, honestly.
How about this, Dej? The version of the theme from this game on the 2003 show.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, you're not going to become Super Shredder? Well,
hold on, Jova. Hold on, Jova. We're not done yet. Remember. So, guess what, Jova? This time we don't just rescue the Statue of Liberty. We're going to fight the Statue of Liberty. Anyway, Dimension X Hangout. So we've completed Neutrino's request. So there you go.
That's a nice throwback to the original 5 episodes where they went to Dimension X.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I think I think I'll go straight there.
Ha! You press the X button to go to Dimension X.
Yes, very good, Boops. Okay, episode 16, Wrath of the Lady. Well, I thought for some reason I was under the impression that I got some other online co-op partners. I think I'm mistaking this for a different run that I made. Never mind, sorry.
Alas.
Statue of Tyranny. Get it? Statue of Tyranny.
Huh.
Clever.
Weird. So Krang's our final. Wait, hold on.
You see, this is why I would be perfectly okay with not having any more video games based on the 80s show at this point, because this game basically did everything that was possible at this point. So it really feels like a fitting finale to this particular type of turtle game.
To this one?
They are, but I mean like an actual new game. Like in terms of making a natural game after this. Like, how can they even top this? Like, after this, I think like a 2003 based game would be a better. I
can see them finding a way to top this. I mean, Lord knows people didn't expect this game anyway, as is.
Well, remember, .mu is all about making retro throwbacks. Remember, they have a Metal Slug game coming out. They also made other.
My point is that I could see them topping themselves even with this game, potentially. We don't know if that's what their plans are, but I would say that there is still, room for improvement.
In my opinion, like, I think this game perfected the old Konami scrolling beat 'em up thing. So I feel like if we were going to make another 80s based
coward. There you go, Krang gets away, so clearly the game could still be afoot.
And there you go, Jova, you're about to get your wish. And there you go, the GGRI thing, and there it is.
Jesus.
Super Shredder, with his design being pretty much a good 80s take on his TMNT2 design. So cool.
Okay, lure him to the pier and then just let him knock the bridge on him.
No, this time we actually fight him properly. That's the thing, Dwebs. If you manage to, that's the thing. Dwebs, I think you'll like this though. If we manage to beat Super Shredder without getting hit once, you gain a trophy called "Who Needs a Dock."
I mean, let's be honest. He was never gonna live that down.
Have I mentioned that I love this game?
I will say this, I do dig the messed up case of his powers, like how he can literally send out an aura version of himself, but it being a mutagen is clearly also taking its toll on him. I'm guessing because instead of ingesting it, he clearly did a gas-based one with this one. I guess probably to keep it temporary.
Indeed. You know what's funny? The way Shredder's designed in the Michael Bay verse, where his normal look looks much more like how Super Shredder should look like, which begs the question: how would Super Shredder even look like in the Bayverse?
Transformer?
I guess, because if you take a look at Shredder in the Bayverse, he already looks like he's Super Shredder. Like his design is so bulky and then of course the second movie completely retconned that shit, kind of. But yeah, there you go. Oh, and by the way, if you're gonna watch Out of the Shadows, hope you're not a Shredder fan, because let's just say that movie does Shredder dirty.
I hope you're not a Casey Jones fan either,
that
because it does
too.
him dirty as well.
That too.
The funny thing, the funny thing is, I recall people for the most part liking Out of the Shadows better than the first.
It is.
Can I call the second one a Bayverse?
It's better. It's better than the first one, but being better than the first one is by no means an accomplishment. So, let me put it this way, Jova. Go on.
I don't mind Johnny Knoxville, but why they got him to dub over the motion capture guy in the first Bay movie was a bit weird. So in the second movie, they just had the motion capture guy do his voice.
Yeah. Let me put it this way, Jova. The first Bay movie is, I guess the plot is technically more coherent, but it's far more annoying and far more lacking in good things. Whereas the second one has more things to like, but the plot is such a fucking mess that makes no sense, and it's just like, anyway.
Oh, Shredder is literally blowing up right now.
Yes, don't worry. Don't worry. Nobody dies in this game, Joe. But they don't just get really big boo-boos. So.
Well, again, it's a way to keep him around for a potential sequel.
Oh hell, Deji, I just got it. That's one joke they could have made in that 2012 80s crossover. They could have they could have had one of the 80s turtles turn to one of the 2012 turtles and say, "Don't worry, nobody dies where we come from."
I, Venezuela, was not scared at all. I've been defeated by the city's protectors, the Grey Guardians of Good, the Web Boys themselves, the Pug Frogs.
Oh come on!
I thought he didn't want to be discovered.
Okay, yeah, but don't give credit to the wrong people, though. The fruit has been foiled. What's next for Leonardo? More training. A ninja is always ready, obviously.
As for where they are now.
Yeah, basically. Alright, so, as for Casey, Crime fighting never stops for Casey Jones. Yeah, that's true.
I'm guessing they always do first the two characters you chose
Very
to play
good.
as.
And the rest I edited in. Yeah. The news never sleeps for April O'Neil, but tonight with New York safe again, she can take a break.
Wow, actually doing the crime fighting is good for exercise.
With Krang being crushed, Mikey can do what he loves best: party. Also,
Yeah, it's the same background from the intro. That's nice.
Yep.
Boyo.
What next?
Raph. Even after beating the bad guys, Raphael is still a hothead. Luckily for him, there are always more baddies to bash. Also, also kind of nod to the 1990 movie. And this is also another reference to the 80s opening, specifically. With New York safe, Donatello gets back to his machines that he always does.
Of course.
But where's his glasses?
I don't mind him having glasses, necessarily. Shredder has been defeated. Splinter's go have his sons. His family only grows stronger. Yeah.
I don't mind him having glasses. I do mind that lately every iteration as of late has been giving him
Tonight's
glasses
the night
to
for a
emphasize
party.
he's the
Friends,
nerd.
friends, family, pizza, forever.
How is Casey eating that pizza for the mass?
I mean,
Don't worry about it.
yeah, that's like a minor nitpick there. Wouldn't it make more sense for them to say turtle power at the end there? I mean, turtle. They said family, pizza, forever. I'm like, what? That's not a thing that
Missed opportunity.
That's not the thing that like. Wouldn't it make more sense to have the characters go turtle power? That's like the catchphrase of the '80s show. So why not throw it in there? Weird, but whatever. That's it. That's Shredder's Revenge. We might come back to this for the DLC, depending on how that DLC turns out specifically, if I think it's worthy of commentating on it. But for now, this is all we have. So, Dibs, thoughts?
Alright, yeah, in spite of not being that familiar with the 80s show, at least it looks like a fun time. Side-scrolling beat 'em up in the style of an 80s show through, well, I wouldn't say Mega Drive-like titles. This is a bit more advanced than that.
Mm-hmm. Would you say this lives up to all the Cowabunga collection titles that we've been doing?
Yes, this definitely holds up to TMNT NES 1.
One day we have to redo that game just so I can get Deji to finally, experience that game in some way.
I forgot. Does the first one have online co-op?
No, the first game is only a single player only game.
Oh god, could you imagine if you and I had a race to find out who finishes that game first?
Okay, so fun fact, when I was at Power Morphicon in 2018, two of my friends decided to play that game. One of them only did it because Marcos offered him, if you finally beat your childhood nightmare, I'll give you my copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He did it.
Well done.
We were all asleep, and we didn't give a, at that point we didn't give a shit, and we wanted to play something else. But
So how does he know he did it?
he was up all night, and he took a picture and recorded himself.
Ah, okay. So there you go. There's evidence.
Carry on, Dubs.
The music is it's all right, and again, a game like this might not be my cup of tea, but it looks fun enough for those who are into it.
All right.
And that's it. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's short enough. I am looking forward to seeing how the DLC is handled, and we'll go from there.
All right. That's Dibs. Deji.
Well, you know me, how much of a big fan of the franchise I am. And I will say, this is probably the best TMNT game that I've ever played.
Oh yeah.
There's so much love put into it, and you can tell that everyone involved was a huge fan of the source material. Obviously it's the 80s version, and there was a lot to pull from. And they even put Toka and Razor in there as well, and gave them their designs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, same thing with
Well,
Super Shredder. You can tell that Super Shredder's design is meant to emulate the Secretly Used movie. So,
And while I don't have much nostalgia towards the 80s cartoon, that's my older brother. I still have a soft spot for it because, come on, it's probably one of the best theme songs to a cartoon ever made.
not just that. The 80s cartoon, if you're in for just watching some simple fun stuff, it's a lot of fun to watch. So,
Yeah.
go on.
It's just so good, and I feel like even if you're not a fan of beat 'em ups or haven't played one, I strongly recommend this because it will. You don't have to be a fan of TMNT to enjoy this.
No, you do not.
It's that good.
It's just like the first two arcade games. Those first two arcade games were fantastic, even if you're not a fan of the system. And this game also lives up to that legacy.
Yep.
Also, Rob Paulson. Here's the cast: Cam Clark as Leonardo, Rob Paulson as Raphael, Towson Coleman as Michelangelo, and Barry Gordon as Donatello, and Bebop. So, there you go. Carry on.
Also, buy the soundtrack. I already own it. I got it off iTunes. I listen to it when I exercise.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right. Yeah. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is bloody brilliant. It's a true love letter to the source material. It's an excellent beat 'em up on its own merits. Thiago's music is wonderful. The visuals are fantastic. Like, it's just a labor of love all around. I mean, if you're like me and you grew up playing the original arcade games as well as watching the 80s show, this game is made for you. Like, for you specifically. And but again, you don't have to be. You can still enjoy this as an excellent beat 'em up. So get playing. Yeah, I definitely recommend getting the game on whatever platform you can. It's available everywhere. By this point, you should be able to get it at a very good price. So trust me, you have basically nothing to lose here. And yeah, that was absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a very good game, honestly. I don't think we've reached the ultimate pinnacle of what they could do with the game yet. Is there a character swap mechanic on the fly?
No, but you can always go back to the world map and swap characters, which in hindsight, yeah, I probably should have done that.
Yeah, that would have been. It would have been nice to have seen all the other characters, but I assume that they have good enough variety. It's a great evolution of what could be done with games of old back then, given a new, cool, fresh coat of paint, while continuing the overall story of the 80s series. What more could I ask for?
I mean, if they were going to make another game based on the 80s turtles, do something bolder. Go full 3D this time, because I feel like we've already fulfilled all the potential for 2D 80s TMNT games.
I guess we'll see what the future holds.
Alright.
Alright then.
So, see you
We'll
then.
see.
Bye.
Bye.